Welcome to the Ref Show, where Glenn Turner joins Keith Hackett and myself in the studio this week. One game will dominate our agenda, but as presenter of this show, I'm always very determined to highlight the positives along with the negatives, and we will do that this week and every week on the Ref Show. Glenn Turner's not had a night's sleep all season, because you may have seen the statistics that he produced, quite alarming statistics actually for Professional Game Match Officials Limited, but also for the game in a wider sense and all the stakeholders. We'll look at those stats that you uncovered, if anybody hasn't actually seen them during the show. But Keith, you closely watched Leicester City's game with Manchester United. Leicester on the brink of the title. By the way, when some of you watch this show, it's possible they may already have clinched the title. Congratulations to them if they have. But you watched this game and you could have written a book about it, couldn't you?
I think it was disappointing to witness a referee who everybody acknowledges has got potential.
Michael Oliver.
Absolutely, but he's not delivering. And for me, this was a disastrous performance. It was probably the worst performance that I've seen delivered by a referee this season. It was such an important game. And okay, I think we'll not have a lot of debate in terms of the media hammering him, because it was a draw at the end of the day. But the outcome of some of his actions was quite alarming. You know, in the past, I've said about Michael that his movement and positioning needs to be dealt with. I have to tell you that he has dealt with it, and his movement and positioning in this game was terrific. The problem he lacks is courage. I can remember some years ago sitting in a small group with Steve Lodge, Jeff Winter, Mike Riley, talking about performances as their coach. Mike Riley had just gone through the problems with Arsenal and ducked out of sending Ashley Cole off. And in that meeting, Jeff Winter said, well, Bonnie lad, what you need is a bit of steel in your game. You're too soft, lad. I'm saying exactly the same. Jeff Winter could say that to Michael Oliver.
Because he had big calls, penalty calls. I think it's acknowledged that both teams could and should have had penalties, Glenn, before we even get on to the potential 2 red cards that were missed.
Yeah, I reinforce what Keith said as well about Mike. He's a fabulous referee on his day. I've covered 1 or 2 of Michael's games this season, and there's no doubt at all that he has sorted out his position and movement. Fabulously fit referee. He moves about the field of play really, really well. But we keep mentioning that P word, potential. And sooner or later, potential's got to turn into delivery with a referee of Michael's stature, especially as he's kind of one of the faces for the future, but he ought to be a face for the here and now.
Yeah.
Now. And if he wants to push into that elite group in UEFA and FIFA, he's got to sort out these key match incidents that he's missing.
Among those, by common consent, Wayne Rooney should have picked up, I think
Yes.
you guys agree, a second yellow card there.
Yeah.
The 2 penalty calls kind of cancelled each other out, that both teams could have had it finished as a draw. But this Robert Huth, a serial offender, because we mention him most weeks here, grabbing Fellaini's hair. I mean, there's plenty of it, isn't there? Yeah. And then getting a predictable reaction, I suppose, with the elbow out.
Look, we've almost finished this season now, and I think from day one we've been talking about incidents with Robert Huth.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd be keeping a special eye on players like Robert Huth, and there's no secret about it. We've said it before. That's what the kind of thing we talk about in those pre-match meetings when we meet up at hotels before games. Not prejudging players, just going in forewarned and forearmed. Right, Huth will be playing today. We know he's got a little bit of history for doing this kind of thing. Keep an eye on him.
It's
Don't
grappling.
prejudging, keep an eye on him.
It's grappling with a difference this time.
With his hair.
I genuinely think that it was seen.
Do you?
I do, and I think it was seen by this referee and ignored, and I think we're seeing that a lot, because the danger of using the FA to re-referee things, to look at things, is also potentially an area where we're promoting weak refereeing. The fact is that both these players should have had a red card. They're sending out totally the wrong message to football at all levels, and I think the game as a whole is getting sick and tired of the illegal use of hand and arm and grappling that we've touched on week in, week out.
And if you don't check it, this is precisely the kind of incident it leads to that we're talking about. Yeah.
I mean, we talk about
Points
one
well
penalty
made.
cancelling another out, but that's not necessarily the case, is it, of course? One could be scored, one could be missed. Then we've got a positive result for one side or the other.
But the other side of this, Alan, is how in big games you manage the event.
Yeah.
And all too often we had a cascade of yellow cards coming that you can't question. Drinkwater's first yellow was never a caution. Never a caution.
No.
So, but then in this period in the second half, the game's flowing and it's a yellow and it's a yellow and it's a yellow, and you suddenly think, Michael, put your foot on the ball, slow it down and regain control. Now, the step process, once again, Alan, was not shown by a referee. The quiet word, the public, bring the captain over, chat and see, it's gone. And all of a sudden, we're moving into this role, well, it's easy, I'll show you a yellow, I'll show you a yellow. And what it does is it devalues the yellow to an extent that it's no longer a preventative action by the referee.
I think Michael has got an opportunity to put things right at United soon, hasn't he, Keith? Has he not been appointed to ruin his testimonial?
Well, I hear that.
Oh, right, okay. Okay. To balance things out, on the other side of the coin, Mike Dean, at the age of 47, I saw putting in one of the best sprints from one half to the other I've seen all season. His knees were pumping like pistons. This was Newcastle 1, Crystal Palace 0. Absolutely exemplary. I mean,
Alan, you know, again, I'd like to touch on it as much as a positive, because this referee has been consistent throughout the season. Absolutely top
career,
performer. Yeah, I mean,
Fabulous referee.
he is. There's no question. He sit there with a great deal of pride saying, why can't the other referees learn from this guy? Now, I'm not suggesting he's coming to the end of his career. But, but what they should do is they should say, here, we'll pay you a bit extra, coach some of these other lads.
Yes.
Because he's got it. He's a good communicator. He's a fabulous referee.
He's a likeable fella.
Yeah.
And he'd be an excellent mentor for the likes of Michael, to take Michael to that next step.
Yeah.
there was a time, I know he's a likeable guy, because there was a time I used to chat to him on the phone,
Yeah.
and then something happened involving a newspaper, Keith knows what it was, and suddenly he's clammed up completely.
There's
But I must say, I did enjoy
As an
conversing
assistant, as a
with
lino,
him.
he's the kind of referee I used to love running the line for, because you knew what he was going to do before
That's
he
the
did
point.
it.
The players know, the managers know, and I think they're quite comfortable in the fact that when they see his name on the team sheet, they go, well, we know what we're going to get.
Nothing to worry about today.
A rare accolade now. Lee Mason, not normally mentioned in the same breath as Mike Dean, but he is experienced. The no-card trick. After his 9 yellows, which were condemned in the Championship game, Derby, Sheffield Wednesday, quite unnecessary, some of those. The no-card trick. West Brom 0, West Ham 3. Good.
Yes, I mean, you know, we all know that he's a mature guy. The problem is he gets really nervous and he never relaxes. And when he's got this opportunity to relax, then fine. But, you know, he's not been used that often in the Premier League. He still, for me, isn't quite the man that we should have on the select group of professional referees. I think he operates below the level required because of his inconsistency.
But this shows what he can achieve, what he can do.
He's got it in his locker. That's
absolutely.
the frustrating thing about Lee. He can pull out performances like that.
Maybe
What
take
we all
confidence.
want to see is more regular.
You can take
And you
confidence.
couldn't wish for a nicer guy to work with. I mean, he was you know, when I managed him, terrific guy off the field, and someone who works at his game. It's just that when he crosses the white line, the nerves seem to kick in.
He's a big thinker of the game, you know,
Yeah.
Lee. He thinks a lot about his game.
Overthinks,
Maybe
possibly.
so. Maybe.
Yeah.
Andre Mariner, I think fairly incident-free, unless you guys have detected otherwise. 6 goals in his game, Southampton 4, Manchester City 2. That was a terrific victory for Saints. In the second part of the show, and also Mike Jones, Arsenal against Norwich. A word about Arsene Wenger in the second part of the programme. Mike Jones, I think, did okay too. But we are, in the second part, going to debate some well, we use the word shocking on the youaretheref.com website, the figures that Glenn Turner, through his many sleepless nights during the course of the season, has unearthed. Up to April the 22nd, 84 key match errors. And he was only talking about really major calls as well in the Premier League and a league table of referees. I know that Glenn has some points to make about that, because there's been a huge reaction. But Anthony Taylor came out top. Let's highlight that. And Watford 3, Aston Villa 2 kind of confirmed his standing at the weekend with a correct sending off Sissoko for the Dogso offence. Yep. Keith, so underpinning really what the survey said.
Yes, absolutely.
And we'll have more on that in Ref Show Part 2. Do rejoin us.